Alright, it's Sega Saturn this time. On the left, we have a dual-ran Mister running dual-ran Saturn core version 250927. On the right, a real Japanese Saturn connected to a framemeister. Unlike my Jag test, which a lot of stuff depends on RNG, this time it was much easier to compare because a lot of those Saturn games have a fixed set of events in demo mode. They repeat identically every time. By the way, if you want to check my Jag test, the link will be in the description. I won't dig into too many comments, but there's one important thing I've noted when overlaying one footage over the other. Graphics are mostly identical, but there's just a few very small details that don't match. You can check out some examples on screen. Why does this happen? Not a single clue. I won't even try. Have zero idea why that happens. I mean, VDPs are so well emulated that everything looks correct. But here and there you will find this odd polygon or texture rendering that doesn't match, while the entire rest of the screen matches correctly. This is not something you'll notice unless you pixel peep on a paused frame overlaying footage A over footage B. It simply looks identical to a real Saturn when you are playing. What about frame rate? Well, it's not perfect, but it's very close. You need large chunks of time to see any considerable desync happening. For example, in Thunder Force 5, there's a difference of 17 frames between Mister and real Saturn when the boss emerges from the water. This, right here, is the sync point at the start of the level. And when the boss comes out of the water, they are 17 frames out of sync. Say that again. It took a whole stage to desync less than a second in a 1 minute and 41 seconds sequence. This is very, very impressive. In a lot of games, it does desync sometimes, if I'm being honest. They don't always match frame for frame, but it's a super tiny desync. Just a few frames here and there. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. This YouTube guy is talking out of his rear end because it sure looks freaking insanely close. Yeah, it is. What I'm saying is frame rate is so accurate that you'd never tell a difference in actual gameplay. This sync is only visible when overlaying footage. Otherwise, it just feels perfectly accurate. If I had to say any conclusions, the core is not identical to real hardware in a strict way, but it's functionally identical. Playing the games, you can barely feel any difference to the real thing. Please notice, this is a dual RAM core. Not sure if the single RAM core presents any difference, but I already had my dual RAM set up for the Jaguar, so that's what we are testing. Alright, I'll shut my mouth now and let you see how they compare. Next test will be Analog 3D versus the N64. Super excited to see how they compare, especially now that Analog has released multiple firmwares over nearly a year, improving the core's accuracy. Guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.